She looked over at the cameras and saw this was happening to her daughter. Jen from Jen Barari recently moved into a new home where she would find out the house had a dark past. One day, while her daughter was in her room, Jen noticed through her home surveillance cameras that something was very wrong.
Honey, what's going on? Baby, come here. Come here, come here. Come here. What's up, baby? Come here. What's wrong?
She goes to see what's wrong with her as she's in a trance-like state. Now frightened due to the unexplained events, Jen calls a medium to her home. This is what she had to say about the house.
I don't want to be filmed right whatsoever. Thank you so much for coming.
I feel somebody here with us.
Okay.
I would definitely give some sort of special guardian to your child or so.
Do you hear it right now? It's insane.
It's like a man or something with tall. That's
Holy.
it. I'm leaving. It's too demon for me. It's too much.
She went to take out the trash when she heard a man inside the trash chute.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. How can I get you help?
Just don't tell anybody I'm in here.
Well, how are you gonna get out?
I have a few tactics.
I have to tell someone that you're in here so you can get out.
No. What?
Can you see my phone flashlight?
Yeah.
Can you stick your hand up?
Yeah.
I don't see you.
I'm stuck upside down.
His brother had passed away mysteriously. Now he believes this video found on his brother's phone may explain what happened. A paranormal investigator from the YouTube channel Clip Store received a submission from someone claiming that this footage might reveal the mystery of his brother passing. In the video, he's exploring what looks like a sewer system at night somewhere in Japan. As he's exploring this pitch black tunnel, something horrifying shows itself. You can hear what sounds like a human voice. Then he turns around and sees a shadow figure watching him. The person submitting this video says this was found on his older brother's phone after his recent passing. If you hear someone knocking late at night, whatever you do, don't open the door. Here's why. A paranormal investigator explains he's been tormented by a shadow figure for over half a year now. Ever since him and his crew attempted to communicate with spirits at a nearby woods, he believes something followed him home. Late one night, him and his family are woken by knocking at the front door.
Esto sí, no. Madre.
Since this event, their son has been complaining of seeing someone that looks like his father standing in the bathroom.
¿Qué hay en la puerta? ¿Qué viste?
Papá.
¿Me viste a mí? ¿En el baño? ¿Ahí estoy yo?
Could it be that by opening the door, he allowed this entity to enter his home? Or is it something else? She was watching the baby monitor when she noticed her daughter wasn't alone.
What is that? What is it? Look at...
Joanna was watching her daughter Emily at home when she notices a small light moving above her crib.
What is that? What is it? Look at the way... Look! It's lingering. And it's not leaving. It's getting near her. Oh my god. Did she just touch it? Where did it go?
Joanna moves her daughter away, and the ball of light seemingly floats around the room as if looking for Emily.
You're not here to hurt us, right? Doesn't seem like you are. You're hovering there, though. I can see that you're hovering. Hi.
Many people in the comments believe this is a guardian angel looking over her baby. They try to fix his problems, even in the afterlife. Auto repair shop owner named Marcos Garcia explains that while watching the garage cameras, he sees his employee Juan talking to someone.
Estoy revisando por la cámara del taller y este maestro está hablando solo. Le voy a preguntar por cámara qué está haciendo. ¿Aló? Oye, disculpa, pero ¿con quién está hablando?
Juan explains he was talking to a customer about fixing a car that was in a recent accident.
¿Tú me estás hablando del accidente de anoche? Juan, me estáis huellando, ¿cierto?
Marcos is in total shock when Juan describes talking to a man named Carlos. Knowing no one's there, Marcos insists he comes upstairs so he can show him the footage.
Juan, no estás con nadie, sube y ven a ver las cámaras, tengo todo grabado.
Marcos explains to him a man named Carlos had lost his life due to a traffic accident, just last night in that same vehicle.
No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos.
He was working the night shift when this happened. Tim from Tim Saber explains he's approaching the end of his shift. While he was doing his final rounds, he begins to hear scratching sounds coming from the containers. And as he approaches the area, this happens. He hears noises inside, but still decides to investigate whatever made that noise. He hears an extremely loud noise coming from the container, so he checks it out. Hearing scratching noises, Tim just closes the container and walks away. He was home alone one night when he sees this. A tattoo artist uploaded a disturbing video where he explains this was the reason why he had to move out. You can see what looks like someone or something watching him with glowing eyes. Whatever this is enough reason to make anyone move overnight. This is why you should stay away from cemeteries at night.
I don't know if that's a person.
Franco TV revisited a cemetery in Peru where he had previously heard a woman laughing while in front of a famous witch's grave.
Isn't it?
Later in the evening, he's exploring a dark hall and hears this.
Moving wreck. What the hell was that?
Frank hears someone whistling coming from the hall. Curious to see the source of the sound, Frank finds what looks like a person standing in the dark. And as he's making his way out, he decides to further investigate and goes back to where he saw that person.
What was that?
A ball seemingly appears out of nowhere and rolls towards him. Then he hears whistling again, but doesn't find anything. You stay in this house. A man named Lucas and his friend were home one day when they begin to see things moving around the house and lights turning on their own. Now, they begin to hear footsteps in the guest bedroom upstairs, so they decide to take a look who may be up there. Even their cat seems to react to whatever was inside that room. Lucas decides to put a camera to capture whatever that was. Whatever's causing this seems to be living in that crawl space. So the question is, warning, be very careful if you're working one of these jobs. Christine, a 38-year-old mother of 4 living in Pittsburgh, was doing Uber on February 10th of 2022. 22-year-old Calvin Crew used his girlfriend's phone to order an Uber, which Christine accepted.
How are you today?
He uses a mask and hoodie to cover his face. He looks around to see if it's clear to make his move and pulls a gun on Christine.
What are you doing?
This is a gun. Keep driving.
No, it's not. Stop. Come on, man. I got a family. What are you
I got
doing?
a family too. Now drive.
He orders her to cancel the ride so it can't be tracked. Held hostage, Christine is forced to drive for an hour while Calvin took her phone and deposited all her money onto his girlfriend's account. He then tells her everything will be okay if she listens, but that would be a lie. 2 days later, Christine's body was found in the woods by an Amazon driver, 50 feet off the road with a gunshot wound in the head. Prosecutors are seeking death penalty for Calvin. He was working the night shift when this happened. An overnight security guard at a supermarket kept hearing things during his route. So one night, he decided to record his walks, and this happened. The toys seem to be turning on their own, and he just gets out of there. This This is the reason why most people don't want to work the night shift. A Reddit user uploaded a disturbing video where his father's working the night shift, and as he's looking over the security cameras, he sees something walk by the building that looks like it came out of a nightmare. You can see two distorted figures walking by. People pointed out one of them seems to be walking on all fours, yet resembling a human face. Could it be that a supernatural being such as a jinn or a skinwalker was captured on that security camera? Or is it just a glitch? If your dog starts acting like this, it may be warning you of an evil presence. A woman named Milena explains her dog has never acted like this before.
What do you see? Oh my god.
You can see the fur on its back stand up, as if it's being threatened by something.
Girl, don't get me scared.
Was Milena's dog warning her of a malevolent spirit in the room? Or is it just something else? She kept waking up to strange noises at 4 a.m. and this is what she found. A couple began recording their recent hauntings after a horrifying encounter with a strange shadow figure. One night, while alone in the house, she begins to hear the same strange noises that had been haunting them.
Hola, gente. Otra vez el ruido ese. Todavía se escucha un ruido de abajo.
When she goes to check, what she finds is terrifying.
Ay, la controladora hay algo ahí. Sora. Sora, subí. Ay, no, Dios santo. Nera.
She didn't notice, but what looks like hands can be seen waiting for her downstairs. If you hear your dog like this, be very careful.
Nala!
YouTube user Hoopla uploaded a disturbing video where he explains he left his dog Nala in his room for only a couple minutes to use the restroom.
Nala!
He thought it was his friend Derek that snuck in to pull a prank on him, so he decided to record the event.
Derek?
Looking for Nala, he hears something in the kitchen, but nothing's there.
Nala, where'd you go, princess? Nala?
He finds Nala hiding in the dark, shaking and completely irresponsive. He hears more movement in the kitchen, and as he's getting his dog Nala to leave the house, this happens.
Nala, we're leaving, let's go!
He explains Nala was traumatized with shakes, but after a few days she recovered. What Nala saw in his room that scared her to her core remains a mystery. This is why you always lock your doors. Will from Will Whereabouts was camping in the middle of the woods in Box Hill, UK, when suddenly, late at night, he's awoken by what sounds like human voices.
I don't think I'm going to be getting much sleep tonight.
Will explains he was all alone in that site, so what exactly made those sounds? If you hear a ghost or spirit messing with a door, whatever you do, don't open it. Here's why. A man named Bruce dedicated a YouTube channel to record memories with his kids. But one night, he was woken up by noises coming from downstairs. He finds a doorknob to a closet moving aggressively as if someone's inside. But when he opens the door, no one seems to be there. Confused on what just happened, he goes back to bed and ignores it. But one night while playing with his son, whatever was inside that closet came back. Whoa! By opening that door, did he allow this entity into his home? Or is it something else? He was resting peacefully when this happened. A man was sound asleep in the hospital Felix Bulnes in Chile when something mysteriously pulls him off the bed. The hospital is known by many people for being haunted, and user Paranormal Carlo Martinez decides to investigate and captures this. He hears voices, then at the end of the hall, he sees something fly out an open window and closes it. Is this hospital truly haunted, or is there another explanation for these events? He was with his dogs watching TV when he realized someone else was in the house. User Ghost Rocky explains these events began to occur more regularly when he was in his room and saw his door open on its own, but then he decided to provoke whatever did it. One night in the living room, he's watching TV with his dogs when this happens.
Oh putain!
This is why you always lock your doors.
Get out of here!
On July 31st, 2022, user Georgia Ramirez was arriving home one night with her son when her Ring doorbell camera captured something horrifying.
Go shower really fast. I need you to go shower.
A man was following them home and attempts to open the door with a sinister look in his eyes.
What's that? Who is that? Get out of here!
He can also be seen hiding something behind him.
Get out of here! There's a guy outside. Look.
The police was called and the man was left alone after his family explains he just has mental problems and poses no harm to Jojo and her son. It's left to wonder, would things turn out the same way if the door was left open for a little bit longer? I'll let you decide. He was alone one night and heard someone walking upstairs. Then this happened. A Reddit user was showing off his new additions to his fish tank when he noticed something ominous around the corner.
If you guys have any suggestions for names that... What the f... What the f...
He sees a hand that seems to move right when he noticed it. He says he lives alone and he isn't quite sure what could have done this. On another night, that's when things take a darker turn. He hears footsteps, so he decides to investigate, and this happens.
I heard a couple of sort of banging. Sometimes it sounds like footsteps. Yeah, I just thought I'd record to just try and like catch any... Fucking hell, man.
He should have stayed far away from this place, but after going back, this happens. Chris from Urbix Hill decided to re-explore a mysterious abandoned factory alone. Previously, he captured many horrifying, unexplicable events, and was even attacked by a white figure that caused him to throw up when it exited his body. Now, while exploring the location again, he captures voices.
It's a weird noise in this room.
The same white figure as before, and things moving on their own. But the most horrifying of all is when Chris sits down to take a break, this happens. You can hear something approaching him. Then a mysterious invisible force pushes Chris. After being knocked out unconscious for about 10 minutes, he wakes up and gets out of there. He thought his wife's spirit was visiting him, but he realized that wasn't her. A man explains he's been hearing footsteps and voices coming from the hallway. Ever since his wife passed away, he believes her spirit may have been trying to contact him. One night, he's woken by the attic door, slamming shut on its own. Unable to sleep, he begins to hear footsteps and voices coming from the hallway.
That sounds like it's down at the end of the hallway. Right back there. me. It felt like their face was right here. That's not why.
He describes feeling the presence of a tall man behind him and hearing many voices saying, "Help me." After this event, he experienced seeing shadow figures by his bedroom and seeing distorted faces with inexplicable sounds. Due to the lack of sleep, he developed serious health problems that caused him to move out and sell his house. He was showing off his Halloween decorations when he got the feeling he was being watched.
Bobby, is that you?
User Sheldell Bell uploaded a creepy video where he showed off his Halloween decorations. The creepiest thing he said was the church next door. As he looks over, he sees two figures watching him. In the video, he brushes it off as a prank, but when he keeps staring at them, this happens.
What the fuck, man? Come on, get the house, man. Get the house. Go. No, just stay in your room.
Was he really being stalked by these two occultists, or is it just an elaborate prank video? This diver found a giant helmet in the bottom of the Indian Ocean by Madagascar. Although we can clearly see this giant gladiator helmet, for some mysterious reason, this event is nowhere to be found online. There was a discovery in Madagascar of a megafauna, where 10-foot tall elephant birds and giant predators lived there over 1,000 years ago. So could this really be the helmet of a giant, or is it just faked? A night guard was patrolling the area alone, and he swears he was talking to an old lady. Luisel Alvarez uploaded a video taken from a security camera where a man can be seen waving to someone in the dark. He sees someone we can't see. He goes over to open the door for what he would later describe as a lost old lady. While conversing with the old lady, he waits for the elevator, and this happens. He runs off the building after the horrifying realization. Some people believe the devil was paying him a visit, but without any more information, we can only assume. Two workers were closing the night when this happened.
So over here.
While they're hiding in the back, waiting for all the unexplained activity to end, it follows them.
So we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, stop it.
Something was thrown at Nick and they get out, but after only a few seconds, they see this.
What we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yo, what the fuck? Bro, Nick, did you fucking do this on purpose?
I-
Did you fucking fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
Is Nick's store haunted, or is it something else? She was alone in her house when she heard someone crying downstairs. Tatiana and her boyfriend Gabriel live fairly normal lives in Canada. But one night, while Tatiana was alone in the house, she began to hear voices downstairs.
Not gonna go. It sounds like it's coming from our room, Gabe.
As she got closer to the source of the sound, you can hear what sounds like a man crying coming from her bedroom.
Please, Gabe. Please come.
Freaked out, she goes upstairs and calls Gabriel, but when he arrives and searches the house, no one's there. A terminally ill grandmother began to behave a bit strange.
Can you see this little...
A 96-year-old woman named Tonti was telling her son she could see someone standing by her bedside.
What is amazing, Mom?
Can you see this little pink girl here?
The pink girl?
No. You can't.
No, I can't see the pink girl. Is she Chinese or Oriental?
Chinese.
Pardon me?
Chinese or...
Chinese?
Party toiler. Harder.
They're having a party? Who's having the birthday party?
Oh, I don't know.
Many people that had near-death experiences have reported seeing deceased relatives. But according to them, it's not a frightening experience, but a peaceful one. He was haunted by something that mimicked his voice. Giovanni and his girlfriend Laura lived fairly normal lives in Brazil, until one night they were woken by something outside their room mimicking Laura's voice. After this event, a few months went by with no activity from whatever this thing is. But one night, while Laura was away with family, whatever was tormenting them back then had come back and now began mimicking Giovanni's voice. He hears himself coming from a hallway, the same hallway where he was chased by an unknown force. Whatever's luring him seems to notice the absence of Laura and continuously calls her name. But when he gets closer, the voice is now coming from a room behind him, and a door opens up on its own. But no one's there. This man was haunted by a demon that mimicked his grandmother. A father and his daughters inherited his grandmother's house after her recent passing. Immediately as they move in, they notice all her belongings were left untouched. One night, Alex hears a chair being dragged coming from upstairs. When he goes to check, this happens. A face can be seen watching him from a dark room. Alex says that face is his grandmother's. A few nights later, things get worse.
This is not what I signed up for when I got this house. Oh, shit! Fuck! Come on.
Alex sees what looks like his grandmother, but when he goes to check, there's no one there. She bought a strange antique doll set, and something followed her home. A man named Daniel explains that his mother's obsessed with collecting strange antique items. One day, she brought home a doll set and would soon realize allowing it into their home was a mistake. They first hear tapping sounds coming from the dollhouse. Then one night, Daniel's awoken by someone knocking on their front door. Unable to see who's on the other side, Daniel slightly opens the door, but no one seems to be there, and as he turns around, he swears the doll behind him blinked, followed by more knocking. After looking at the cameras and seeing no one behind that door, Daniel tries to get rid of the doll set, but his mother refused. They found him passed out while exploring an abandoned haunted town, and what his camera captured will shock you. The clip store team went to explore an abandoned and allegedly haunted town in Shibukawa, Japan. They split up and explored the town, but when it's time to meet up, one of the crew members, Daishan, is nowhere to be found. After searching the town, they find him sitting in a room disoriented. As they're helping him out of there, they see his camera was still recording. This is what was captured. He's frightened by a pale face, which makes him fall down, and when he looks again, it's not there anymore. He then turns around and sees what looks like a man kneeling down. Shortly after this is when the team finds him. Was Daishan attacked by an unknown force, or is it something else? If your kid starts talking to an imaginary friend, be very careful. Here's why. A woman named Leah Lourdes moved into a new house with her daughter. She explains that over the course of a few days, her daughter befriended an imaginary friend. After this, she noticed her daughter would spend a lot of time inside her room and even noticed another voice coming from inside. Hoping it's just her mind playing tricks on her, she places a camera in her daughter's room to make sure everything's okay. But what she captured made her realize moving into that house was a mistake. You can see her daughter talking to someone. The closet door opens by itself, as if something's hiding inside. Then, you can hear what sounds like a deep growl. Frightened, she slowly makes her way out. After discovering the footage, Leo expresses she's terrified and trying to find answers. He felt like something was watching him, but when he turned on the camera, he finally sees it. YouTuber Zero Fox was testing out the different camera features of the Xbox Kinect, when suddenly, he notices something that shouldn't be there. What looks like a dark figure can be seen standing behind him, but when he turns around, no one's there. Could this be an entity invisible to the human eye? Or is it something else? He kept looking over his son, even in the afterlife. A woman named Whitney explains that while she was 6 months pregnant with her second son Leo, her husband Ryan was making his way back home from the gym when he was stung by a bee. Later that day, he was rushed to the hospital due to an allergic reaction that caused some brain damage from a lack of oxygen. Due to this, Ryan would unfortunately pass away without ever meeting his newborn son Leo. But one night, while Whitney was watching the baby monitor, this happens. She sees a shape of light on top of Leo's head as if it were caressing her baby.
I feel intense sadness because I know that Ryan, my late husband, would love to see his boys like this, that he is missing all of these moments, and that makes me incredibly sad.
Whitney believes this is her husband Ryan looking over his son Leo from the other side. He was exploring a tunnel system, but found out he wasn't alone. Chris from Urbix Hill traveled deep within a forest where he would find a mysterious tunnel system that stretched out for miles. As he entered the portal, he felt it was oddly quiet, followed by a feeling of being watched. While he explored deeper in the tunnel, he would see signs that he may not be alone. After following the tunnels for several minutes, he would have one of the most terrifying encounters of his life. What seems like two creatures coming from the corner, curious to see who's there. Then, when they see Chris, they immediately flee. Now, making his way back out, he hears this.
What the fuck?
Freaked out, he makes his way out. They were about to get off their car when they realized someone may have followed them. YouTube channel Investla uploaded a creepy video where he shows his cars detecting someone just standing behind him.
There's nothing there that should be.
Maybe it's the chair?
I don't know, it's
But through the camera, nothing is even there. And as he tries to make sense of what this could be, another figure pops up and approaches his door. So could this really be an entity seen through a Tesla camera? Or is it just a glitch? He kept helping his coworkers, even in the afterlife. A Texas overnight security guard at a construction site by the name Freddy explains that while working the night shift, his coworker Jose needed help moving a heavy cable reel. When out of nowhere, a worker he's never seen before offered him a hand. You can see Jose guiding the reel. But when he goes around to thank the man, he realizes no one's there. Thinking the man he saw had left, he asked his supervisor, where did he go? After listening to Jose describe this man, the supervisor was in total disbelief. He took him to the break room where he showed him a wall that had a bunch of pictures of previous employees. Jose described seeing 21-year-old Alan Lopez, who lost his life due to a truck incident 8 years ago in that construction site. This monk was forced to write a book overnight to save his life. According to legend, the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, was written by a monk who broke his monastery vows and was sentenced to die. In order to avoid execution, he promised to create a book containing all the secrets of creation in only a night. During midnight, he knew he couldn't finish the book and would soon die an agonizingly slow death buried alive. Consumed with fear, he made a deal with Satan himself, offering his soul, begging him in tears to finish the book. The monk claimed Satan completed the book with inhuman speed. Then the monk added a drawing of his new master in gratitude, inked in his own blood and feces. Tests were performed, and it was estimated that calligraphy alone would have taken 20 years of non-stop writing. She took a babysitting job, but they didn't mention this was in the house. Sylph Clayton uploaded a series of videos where she shows the house she's babysitting at has faceless, children-like dolls that face the wall like they're playing hide and seek.
Guys, I'm babysitting and I just found the creepiest thing. What is that? Oh my god. No, but what is it? Another one. Why would you look at that? Why would anyone have this in their house?
If you look closely, each of these dolls have bells attached to them, as if they're there to alert movement. She wanted to make fun of the doll's position, and by doing so, this happens.
Guys, guess who I am?
She didn't notice, but what looks like the figure of a girl can be seen in the mirror entering a room. This is why your pet may be trying to tell you something's watching you. Andres had recently arrived home when he noticed his dog was acting unusually nervous.
Y tu perro viene de la pieza ladrando, mira, mira.
His dog seems to be barking at something in a dark room, but when it approaches it, it backs away in fear. But it wasn't until Andres reviewed the footage that he would see it.
Y estoy solo en la casa, compañero.
What seems like a pair of glowing eyes can be seen watching Andres. This is why you get a feeling like someone is watching you. A paranormal investigator by the name Kuroshiro investigates a strange haunting in an outer order room of a hotel. This story in that room is that someone passed away in a horrific way. Ever since then, the room has been left vacated. Kuroshiro sets up his equipment and investigates the haunting. But as he's approaching a dark section of the room, he notices a door slightly open. As he turns around, this is what he found. Shiro sees a dark figure standing in the corner watching him. He believes he saw the spirit of the deceased victim of this room.